Hey, welcome back everyone. Now we're gonna see the last part, so how to use our aim logic. So the first thing we have to do is going down to our projectile spawn logic, click on projectile offset and make sure you put those value here. So 0 for the X, 30 for the Y, and 15 for the Z. And you'll be all set. Now we're gonna go to our aim logic. So here from the aim logic, so when we press, we want to aim, right? So we're going to take our aim, plug it there, and put it true. And want to make sure that we are also able to fire when we press, right? So we're going to take our value can fire and put it right there and check it as well. We're going to create a branch and we're going to plug it to it. So the branch will just verify that we are crouch or not. So we're going to go to our Boolean, take crouch, and connect the crouch here. So from that now, we're just gonna go when we release the key. Well, when we release the key, what we want to do, we want to make sure we don't aim anymore and that we're not firing anymore, that we can't fire if we're not aiming. Well, you should not be able to fire normally. So we're gonna take that copy with Control C and Control V. We're gonna plug it right here, move that all the way down, and we're gonna make sure that we uncheck both of them. So once again, we're going to take our branch here so we can just copy that and just plug it right there. So we're all set with that, so we're good with this. So from that, we're going to need our character movement. Just take the character movement, drag it up here. And from this now, with the character movement, we're going to set our max walk speed. So we're going to take this, but we don't want the, the variable here. We want to make sure that we take the one from the engine, right? So we're going to take this one here. So this one will be from false. And now we're going to copy with Control C and Control V. And we're going to copy that 2 more times, like so. And from that, we're just going to take the true to this one. And the true from this one will go there, and the false will go there. And I'm going to make sure that we take our character movement and plug it there. No worries, after I'm all done the code, I'm going to explain what this does so you don't get too much confusion. So from that here, we need a variable to our max walk speed, because when we're zooming, when we're in the stand position, we don't want to be able to move at the same speed that when we're not zooming. So we need a variable for that. So what you do here, just create a variable, make sure it's a float, and you're gonna name that variable stand zoom walk speed, and you're gonna put 100, or the speed that you want to be able to move when you zoom. We're gonna take that and plug it right there, right? And so when we're crouching, if we're crouched, is going to be true. So what is our speed when we're crouching? So same thing, we're going to create a variable for crouch zoom walk speed, and in my case I put 50, and I'm just going to plug it right there, right? So we're good with that. So when we're unzoom, right, when we're not aiming anymore, what we want to do, well, we want to put back our normal speed, right? We don't want to zoom that when we don't want the speed that when we're zooming, because when we release, we want to get back our normal speed. So we have to tell the engine to do this. So our max walk speed, right, is 250 in this case. So if we're not crouching anymore, when we release the key, we're going to go back to our max walk speed, which is 250. If we're still crouching, we want to go back to the crouch walk speed, which is 100. I'm going to plug it right there. So now, if we just tried it out quick, so we could do play. You see, if I zoom here, if I walk in like that speed, if I zoom to aim, you see my speed is way lower. When I'm crouching, my speed is like this, but when I press, you see my speed is way lower. So it's working. So it's exactly what we want. So we're going to go to the next part. So from that, we're going to need the timeline. So just search for a timeline. Go all the way down here and add the timeline. We're going to name this timeline aim stain, or stand, I should say, downside, if I know how to spell that as well, downside, like this. And we're gonna just copy paste, not copy paste, but copy the timeline and paste it down here as well, because we need the same thing for crouch, right? So we're gonna take this name here, right, just to save a little bit of typing because I don't know how to type words. So, and I'm just gonna call that crouch, like this. So we have our two timelines. So the timeline will help us to know exactly where we want to zoom and do that, not snap like in a certain time frame. So it's going to be more smooth. So from that, we're going to connect, not connect, but we're going to take our aim downside. So we can do that because we create it here now. So we can search here and search for aim stand downside, and we're gonna get the get here. We're gonna get the head. So we're gonna take this, click it here, and we're gonna, with that we're good. So we're gonna do the same thing for the bottom. So we're gonna search for the crouch one, and we'll do a get on it and put it right there. So we're just gonna move that a little bit out of the way. So we need a play rate, right? So we need a play rate from the timeline. So if we drag from the stand here and we search for play rate, we should have timeline here on the top and set play rate. And we need the same thing for this one. So same thing, we're going to drag from it and we're going to set a play rate. And we're going to take it there. So we need two more play rates. So we're going to just Control C and Control V. And we're going to do the same thing down here. So we're going to be able to connect those two together, and that one will go right here, right, and just plug it there. We're going to do the same thing with crouch. We're going to plug it right here, and we're going to do the same thing right here, and make sure that we plug this as well. So this is going to be the time that it's going to take to zoom in and zoom out. So when I'm zoom in, I want that to take 0.8 seconds, but when I zoom out, I want 0.5 or 0.45, but I'm gonna put 0.5 here. So you put the time that you want. So I'm just gonna do the same thing here, 0.8 and 0.5, and we're gonna try this out and see what it does for us. If I know how to type numbers as well. So we're gonna compile that and play. So you see, when you zoom, you have a certain time, and same thing when you do down here. You don't see it too well because nothing is connected to this yet. So we're just gonna plug this right here, and in the reverse here is gonna go to reverse actually, in this one, and I'm gonna do the same thing here and there. So now we're gonna go in our timeline and to adjust the number to do that, to the zoom. So we're gonna go there, we're gonna add two tracks. So we're gonna need one float tracks that I'm gonna call arm length. And even this, I don't know how to spell that. Like this. And I'm gonna add another track and I'm gonna do a vector. And this vector will be our camera offset. So we're just gonna call camera offset. So from the arm length, we're gonna add one key and add another key, right? So the first key, well, our first key will have a time of 0, and our value will have a time of 400, which is our normal distance that we have with our cameras, right? In our viewport here, you know, our camera here, you see we have that camera here as a 400, as you can see here. So that's the same number that we're putting down in the aim here. And the other value will be 0.1 for the time, and the value will be 250. It's how close I want the camera to be zooming when I'm pressing to zoom, right? So it's gonna do that for me, and it's gonna take 0.10 seconds. So we're gonna click here and to put 0.10 seconds. So in the 0.10 seconds, it's going to go to from 400 to or 200 right here. So if we try that out just to see, you see nothing's happening yet because we have to do our camera offset as well and other things to have to do. But you're going to see later on this is going to work. So from the camera offset here, we're going to go to the add key value. I'm going to do all curve. I'm going to do that twice because we want all of the lines, right? There we go. So we have all of the line, just make sure they're not mixed up anymore. And from that, we're just going to put some numbers in it, right? So I'm going to click on the Y and Z. So I'm going to start with the Y, and the value will be 0. The time will be 0, and our value will be 50. And the end of that, right, the end of that, well, our timing will be 0.1, and the value will be 50. Right? So you can see that one is like a normal line. So we're going to go all the way up to find the other ones. So the red one, I'm going to click on the red one, and the red one will be a time of 0 and a value of 0 as well. And the top one, not the top one, but the other side of the X. So our time will be 0.1 and the value will be 130. Now we're going to do the Z axis. So same thing, the Z here will be time of 0 and a value of 50. And for the end of that axis, it's going to be a time of 0.1 and a value of 40. Like so. I'm just going to click on this so we can see that on one graph. So it should have something that look like this. Right? If I zoom a little bit out, something like this. We're going to compile and save that. So we're going to go back to our event graph, and we're just going to finish this line here. So go back to the event graph, and from the update here, we're going to connect our target arm length. But before doing that, we need our camera boom. So we're going to take the camera boom, just drag it here, and now from that, you'll be able to set target arm length. We're going to take this and just put that to update, and make sure you connect that to the arm that we did earlier. From that, we're going to search, and we're going to set our socket offset. We're going to put that right here and plug our socket offset in the camera that we did here. So instead of, if you don't use timeline, you will have this connect directly right there, which it's not going to be smooth. It's going to be snapping, and unless it's what you want, you can do it that way. But now we can try the stand position and see what it does for us. You see, the zoom is working, but when we unzoom, it's not working. So we have to fix a little thing here. So we're going to go back and see what did we miss, and just to fix that out. So we have our aim here. So it's connected to this, it's connected there. So we're good with this. It's probably just here inside that I messed up a number somewhere. So we're gonna see if I can find that number and fix it. So here it should be 0 and 400, and this it should be 0.1 and 200. Okay, so this seems good. I'll go back and make sure that I really didn't forget. So let's go to play here, which is good. Oh, we have the crouch, and I did not set up the crouch here yet. So that's our zoom crouch, so it's not set up yet. And when we unzoom normal, that's my mistake here. We have to finish this one first. So we're gonna do this. So actually I may have just reversed something here. Yes, I did reverse something actually. Let's fix it out. So the false from here need to go all the way up here, and the true from there need to go there. So let's try it out again. Here we go. Perfect. See, the zoom is working. If you want, for example, to have that a little bit higher up, you know, over the shoulder, you can go back here and just change your value here to a little bit higher up. So I'm going to put 100 for an example. So when I zoom, you see it's going all the way up, right? I don't want exactly this number. So I'm going to try something like 50 and try again. See, it's getting a little bit better. So I prefer this, but I would like that a little bit higher up. So I'll try 60. Oh, it's getting good now. I start to prefer this one. So I'm going to leave it at 60. And we're good with this. So now we're going to go back to our aim, and we're going to take the one from the crouch one, and we're going to set up the crouch. So we're going to go in it, and we had two tracks, one float once again, and we're going to call that arm length. This time I'm going to spell it correctly. And I'm going to have another track, and it's going to be a vector, and it's going to be a camera offset. Same thing here, we're going to add two key, right? The first key will be obviously the same as the other one, which will be time of 0 and a value of 400, which is our normal distance from our character with the camera. And the other one will be our time, which is 0.1, and a value will be 200 because we want to zoom 200 unit closer. And the time here, we're going to put 0.10. There you go. You can click here and here so you can see that on one graph. So from that, now we're going to do the other one. So we're just going to add all curve, and we're going to do that twice. I'm just going to move that so they're not all stacked together. Perfect. So we're going to adjust this. So we're going to start with the red one, which is the X, and it's going to be 0, 0. Put 0, 0, and the end of the red, we're going to we're going to put 0 here, or the number that is already there, and I'm going to put 120. So we should have something that look like this. So we're going to do the other one. So we're going to make sure that it's fit in one graph. So let's click here so we can see it fitting in one graph like this. That's beautiful. So we're going to do the other ones. So the blue here will be, I'm going to put 0, and the value will be 50. We're going to go at the end of the other blue, right? And I'm going to make sure that my value, my time, it's not two-way up. So I'm going to put the 0.1, which is the end of the line that we have here. And the value will be 5. All right, so same thing with the X here, 0.1. So it's go right at the end. We're going to do the same thing with the green here. So it's all at the end of our graph here. So for the green one, well, the green one is exactly the same as the Z. So we're going to put the time of 0, and the value will be 50. And the end of it, right, will be, we're going to put our time at 0.1, which is already there, and the value will be 50. So you should have something that look like this. We're going to compile and save that, and go back to our graph, and just take all this, right, and just copy paste, and we're going to put it down. So copy with Control C, Control V, plug it to update like this, and this one right here. And I'm going to take our camera boom, so we can copy the camera boom once again, or just take this one, right? So you can put it right here and put it right there, something around those lines. So now we're going to try this out. So just compile and save. So you see we zoom, it's unzooming for us. When we're crouch, same thing. So you see crouch is a little bit low. I will like that to get a little bit higher up. So I'm gonna go back to my crouch, take my Z value, and I'm just gonna take something around maybe 15. I'm just gonna try that. So just play an error and until you find what you like. You see, it's a little bit better. I prefer that, but I would like to get that a little bit higher up. I'm gonna try 25. Let's try that now. You see, 25 seems better. See, there is no, it's kind of following your crosshair, so it's a little bit better. So I prefer that. Now if we shoot, you see it's scoring right in the middle of our crosshair. Almost, right? Well, it's not bad, so you have to play with the number on your event graph for the projectile offset here. Offset, I mean. Right? So if you go to your character here, you can see when you click on it, you know, the height, it's going to be your Z, right? And if we shoot here, we're just a little bit too high. So if we go back here and our projectile offset, we're going to take Z here, and we're just going to put 10 just to bring the bullet down a little bit. Let's try it out. You see, now it's more in the middle, which is good. So it's exactly what we want. So we can even go a little bit lower down, so it's a little bit more accurate. Let's try it out again. So it's right in the middle, almost. So I'm not going to play too much on that, but you can play with this and suit it for what you like. So it's pretty much what I wanted to show you guys. So we have been able in that series here to zoom with our weapon. When we're crouching and standing, we're able to walk in each direction. We can run in each direction. Obviously the animation are not perfect, you can play with that. Same thing with crouch, we can move in each direction. We can shoot in single fire, in auto fire, and in burst fire. So that's great with that. It's auto reload for us, or you can also reload manually if you want, and it's playing the animation. Right, we can jump. It's not a great animation, but we can do that now. And we have our stamina, so when we run, the stamina is going down, the ammo is going down when we shoot as well. When we go under an object, we cannot stand until we get out of under it. So like this, we're good. Now we can do it. We put the FPS in the corner, so we did a little bit things to that. So it's kind of, you have the basic for third-person shooter. So the graph look like this. So something around those lines for you guys. For me, it's looking like this. So now we're just going to read this code to see what it does. So when we press, it's going to set those two boolean to true. So our aiming and our can fire. We're going to go to a branch, and that branch is going to verify that we are crouching or not. If we're not crouching, we're going to go to our normal zoom speed, which is when we're standing up. If we are crouched, it's going to go to the crouch zoom speed right here. So if you go back to stand here, so when we're standing up, we're zooming, so we're going to zoom at a rate of 0.8, and if we unzoom, we're going to do that at a rate of 0.5. The information that we put in a timeline, it's what it's going to tell us the distance that our camera is going to move when we aim. So in this case, it's aimed to 400 down to 200 when we're zooming, and when we unzoom, it's going to 200 to 400, which is our normal viewport camera here. So, and it's going to set our socket, which is the camera, a little bit to the side and up where we decide to put that camera according to the number that we put here, right? So if we go all the way back here, so when we release, well, let's take those two boolean, which is aim and can fire, and set them to not true, or I will say none, and it's going to verify are we still crouch or not. If we're not crouched, it means that we have to go back to our normal walk speed, which is the speed that we're standing up. If we're crouching, we go back to our crouch speed. Go all the way up there. Same thing with cameras. When we zoom or unzoom, it's gonna go according to the value that we put here. The timeline has some numbers that we put that's gonna set our arm length, which is also the camera, from 400 to 200 and vice versa. And the socket is gonna adjust our camera to the left or right shoulder, depending on how you set up your things. In this case, I set up that on the right shoulder, so it's going on this side. So that's pretty much this I wanted to show you guys. So I'll catch you on another video. See ya.